Hello. This morning I was listening to a podcast by Donald Miller. Uh, and I just finished drop off at school and I was walking home. And it's when I get a chance to listen to podcasts each morning. And Donald Miller has a podcast called Business Made Simple. And as I run a business, I'm always interested in what people are doing to make the most of their small businesses. And it's a great one. And this morning he was talking with a photographer who had been in the photography business for many, many years, and he wanted to add a coaching element to it. He'd been very successful, and so he wanted to start teaching other photographers who were interested in starting a photography business on how to do that and how to do it successfully. But he had absolutely no idea how to start. And so Donald Miller broke it down into 7 really easy steps to get started. And he took the overwhelm out of something that seemed really complex and challenging into simple steps. And I'll just run through them quickly for you. Even though you mightn't be looking at starting a business, I just thought I'd show you how simple it can be when we break down what we're doing into simple steps. So step 1, he said, write a 5-page PDF. Step 2, put that PDF on a landing page so people can download it, put their email in and get access to it. Step 3, write a 40-page book. And step 4 was then record yourself reading that book. So then you have an audio version of that book. And then when people want the book, they can also buy the audio recording for $30 or so and get both together. So they can listen to it when they're walking home from school. Walking home from drop off at school. So those are the first 4 steps. The next was you then, for everybody that downloaded that audio version and purchased that bundle, they also then got 10 valuable emails from you. And at the end of that email sequence, they then were invited to a free webinar. So that was step 6. And then in that free webinar, you gave them the opportunity to work with you one-on-one consulting. And so that was a very simple step where you went from nothing to a 5-page PDF through to starting to have coaching clients. And it then made it really simple for that particular photographer to see the path on where he had to go and what he needed to do to be able to start a coaching business. And I think it's the same for sewing. And I think we spend, and I'm particularly talking about beginners who want to make something that's quite complex, but don't know where to start. And I think it comes down to making sure that you have simple steps. We spend so much time and care and money making something for someone that you want them to use it, you want them to wear it, you want them to love it, you want them to talk about it with their friends and wear it to parties or weddings or whatever you're making the garment for. And that doesn't always look like a handkerchief. It could be something quite complex or something a little bit more advanced than a simple drawstring bag or a handkerchief that you put in your pocket. And it can be something like our camp collar shirt, which this gets worn often and gets washed often, which is really rewarding for me, who spent quite a bit of time making it for my beautiful husband. So I don't believe that a beginner needs to start at the beginning. And the reason that is possible is if you have step-by-step instructions, you start here and you end here, and these are all the little steps in between, and it makes what seems overwhelming doable. And it's the reason that every single one of our patterns comes with step-by-step video instructions. It also comes with writing, all the written instructions and the pictures as well, because we all read and absorb information in different ways. But this is what our hub looks like, and it has step-by-step instructions all the way through. And so it starts at the very beginning at cutting and pasting an A4 pattern. So for those that have never downloaded an A4 pattern and printed it out and pasted it together, we have a video on how to do that. Then how to lay out that pattern on the fabric. Then how to pin the pattern to the fabric so you get the most efficient layout on the fabric that you have. How to cut out the fabric, sewing the pocket, sew the pocket onto the shirt, sew the back pleat, sew the yoke to the back, cut fusible interfacing, sew the front facing, sew the loop and the placement of the loop. Now I've also made those two steps in different colors because they're optional. Not everybody wants to put a little loop on their shirt. And in all our patterns, we do include little tidbits that make the shirt just that little bit special. Just those little fashionable extras that you can include. So after you've put your loop on, then you ease the front shoulder. I have included in this shirt pattern just a small little bit of easing in the front, just to give it a little bit more room in the front. And we've also included pleats in the back, again, to give it just that little bit more movement in the shirt. So just easing that front on the front yoke is a step that we show you how to do. Sew the shoulder seams, sew the collar, which is by far the most complex. Attaching the collar, sew the sleeve, sew the sleeve hem, sew the side seams, sew the bottom hem, and top stitch the front of the shirt and around the collar. So you top stitch all that at the same time. And I've also included in the bottom of it, using two buttonholes, whether you're using a manual foot or an automatic foot. So sewing the buttonholes, but depending on what type of foot you have, doing a tutorial on how to use both of those because they're quite different. So I do believe that sometimes what says intermediate or advanced on a pattern can be very achievable for a beginner, as long as you have the steps and you take those steps one at a time.